Welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's episode, Eric and I sit down with Jeremy Hyle. He is the captain in charge of the Kootenai County Jail. We are going to talk about the current state of the Kootenai County Jail, what's coming up in the future, and Jeremy's style of leadership. There are quite a few war stories thrown in because Jeremy and Eric worked patrol as Kootenai County deputies back in the day. Excellent conversation. You guys will surely enjoy this. Jeremy has a ton of experience, knowledge, and energy. He's the perfect guy for that job. Hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're looking to make the move here or live here currently and are trying to sell or buy a home, our real estate team would love to help in that transaction. We specialize in helping conservative families find their freedom right here in North Idaho.
All right, that's right. I'll see it in the report.
Yeah, no, it was funny. He was that type of sergeant where we would go out, and if it was quiet, like if the radio wasn't barking and guys weren't making stops, he'd be like, "Oh, okay." And he'd go out and he'd make one, and it was just
and everybody's like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, exactly. And it'd be like some turd car that had a whole bunch of felons in it.
It's because as a sergeant responsible for the whole county, I can't transport to the jail.
Right.
So if I arrest them, they got to do it.
Yeah, that's true. I get it. Yeah. You cook it, we clean it.
That's right.
No, it was fun. That was a blast. That was a good shift.
There's something about it, man. Just graveyards being proactive. For me, it was hook and deuces, right? Being a trooper, like that was my jam, and I loved it. But we also got a lot of drugs, which was fun too. But you guys always take, the county and the city guys take it like next level. Like, all right, now we're going to search houses. Like, we never did that. That was just not our jam, you know?
Big shout out to some of our local probation officers. We had really good relations. And they're like any other, no two cops are the same, no two POs are the same, and they get a lot of freedom and liberty. But there's some really good ones out here that we'd partner with that very much bought into the concept of making felons committing crimes uncomfortable and they can't go commit crimes. So when we'd hit them up at 3 a.m, those dudes would pick up. They're like, "Oh, while you're out there,
hey, since you're there,
yes."
See, I see a perfect world where you've got one car. And you got like 2 county guys in the front, you got a trooper in the back seat, and a PO in there. And you're like, we're a fucking self-contained wrecking machine.
Whatever you come across, you're going to be able to handle.
And then you got a van trailing behind just to throw all the in custodies in, dude. Like, let's go.
We talked about that on CAT all the time because we ended up bringing in Brady, and he's going to work down south in Lewiston, but he was a trooper, so we had like state cover, so he could write that report. And it kind of sucked, and we'll get into this stuff later, but there was like top fighting, so we couldn't add a county guy to the CAT team, which would have been great because then you've just got everything covered. And we even had some post falls that were plugged in. So then jurisdictionally, it's easy. It's like whose name goes on the report, right?
We solved that problem where we were at because on graveyards for where I was a trooper, it was like generally it was either really slow or like full on fucking chaos. But we would just scanner chase the county or the city. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful match because we show up there on a stop, like always deuce, whatever. Because we had an MOU, they'd kick all the deuces to us. We'd kick all the shitty DVs to them. And it was a beautiful match made in heaven, man. It's like you show up, like, oh, the deuce, okay, I got this, boom. We do our thing, or vice versa.
Well, when it came to those, you guys are just so much more efficient.
We're fucking, dude. Yeah, we had a 2-page report.
Yes.
Yep.
I've done thousands of investigations, probably hooked 500 DUIs, and it's like it takes me 5 minutes, man.
They're not hard.
No,
I just don't like doing them, and I'm not saying I want a drunk driving down the road. I'll find somebody to do it, but it's just not. If you're not comfortable with it, you're not proficient at it. It feels cumbersome.
Yeah,
that's probably across the board, right? If you put me in a situation where, it
doesn't matter what the call is, what the stop is.
You give me a DV to handle, I'm like, it's going to take me hours, bro. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, right?
I always looked at like DUIs, they're scripted, right? There's like certain this step, and they should be the same thing every single. My brain just doesn't work that way. I'll get to step 4 and I'll be floating. Like there's just squirrel brain, see something. It just doesn't work. But a dope investigation, like you never know. And it's always creative, and you're like kind of poking around. And
the dope game's a chess game.
Yeah,
that's what makes
scripts
it fun.
Though, dude. It's just like real estate, bro. You learn scripts on how to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I had my DUI script down, and it was like poetry, man. You just rocking it, and you go off script a little bit now and then. That's where the artistic flair comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you start hitting it, and it's beautiful on camera. And we have a good time.
That's the way it was, man. Dope was just you never knew.
I bet it was the same thing with you. Yeah.
Well, you knew you had something. You just didn't know what that something was. So then you're like playing the game, going, okay, where's my point here? here. And when you work really well with somebody else, which I learned a lot. Like, he was my first real sergeant that taught me proactive policing. Because I'd only been a cop for probably a year.
A minute, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, no, come over here. We're gonna do some stuff.
So you're responsible for this?
He played a big role.
Okay.
I don't want to take responsibility because there's a couple. I had liability.
Yes.
There's a couple dudes on that shift that I could see. So I learned my craft from Brian Ellis down in Killeen, Texas. He's now an FBI agent down in Houston, I think. He taught me the path. He put me on the path to where I got to. There's dudes like Eric, and I told him this, and I hate giving credit.
God dang it.
Better than me. And like the way he could talk to people, the experience he brought, and that's where showing up on stops with you and Brock and some of these dudes, I'm like, I don't know how you did it, man. I don't know how you got from A to B, because like it's better than me. And we got some badass dudes. So I will take credit for leading you to where you needed to start.
Yeah.
But as far as like what you turned into, that's all on you.
Well,
he's a monster in real estate as well.
Yeah.
Like the ability to communicate. A lot of people have that from this world, but some people have it at another level, and he has it. Now, he can't maintain a fucking calendar for the life of him.
I believe that.
And he lives in chaos.
Yep.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yep.
I do.
But goddamn,
pure chaos.
it's beautiful chaos, bro.
It is. In my mind, it
works
makes
for
sense.
you. Yeah.
It's like that meme where it's like numbers and pi signs and all of this other stuff, and
yeah.
somehow it gets moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's fun about like a mid-level agency, the size of the county, is the sergeant. It's a small unit. You know, you have 4 or 5 of your guys, and as a sergeant, that was such a fun job when I got promoted, which he helped me get promoted to. We sat down and studied, but it's so much fun because you literally not only lead the guys in like policy procedure, making sure they go home, you lead their motivation. There's few better feelings than sitting in front of a group for briefing, and you were this way. Like, briefing was intentional. It wasn't up there playing Boom Beach and screwing around. Like, it was, we had something to talk about, and it was intentional, and then you leave it, and you're like, all right, like,
Yeah.
I know he's got my back. I'm going to go out and slay.
So,
I'm going to go out and smash.
Funny you mentioned intentional briefing. Leadership has to be intentional, right? You can't just go in and wing it. Like, oh, what were you? You have to be making decisions to move the team, the unit forward. And when I got promoted, because you weren't there early on, like, because I was on a swing or cover day, I can't remember where I started. But I'd go into my first briefing, and I'm like, well, let's do what the guy before me did. Okay, hey, let's go over emails and the bolos and stuff like that. And I did that a couple times, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we have to check our email every day, like, per policy. I'm like, so I'd come in and I'd lose it a little, talk about, I'm not as chaotic as him, but I'd come in and be like, you guys saw that email, right? They're like, no. I'm like, maybe that was just to me. Maybe I should share some of these emails. Yeah. But I'm like, hey, you guys check your email? No. Okay. Check your email. Boom. Check. Dude. Right. Let's move on. So it was a article I read called Intentional Briefing, or Briefing with a Purpose, that talked about have a plan for, Mondays go over this, Tuesday, case law, whatever important stuff. And I started creating intel slides off our intel bulletins to just play during briefing. Like, hey guys, this is the stuff this is what we're looking for. This is what we're, anything that's out there from any of the intel bulletins, let's go find it. Intel is, put out for a reason. Let's go use it. Let's not just, okay, if I ever see that. No, let's go find it. Yeah. Let's go find it.
That is motivating. How many guys are in a briefing sheriff's department graveyard?
Graveyards, 1 to 5.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
Depends on the night.
I've been accused of going down to 2 deputy. I don't remember this. But no, we'd go down to 2.
Do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, dude. So on graves, back then, I think swings got off at midnight to 2. I can't remember. And then days comes on at 6. So from 2 to 6, 4 hours. If we, somebody needed a night off or something, I'm like, man, I'll take a chance. But I always made sure the dudes that were there, I'm like, if you say no, I'll say no.
Yeah.
But if you're in, I'm in.
Nobody's gonna say no to that, by the way.
Yeah, and exactly, because it could be them next time.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't stop working. We wouldn't go hide. We used to go out, and because I know swings going off at midnight. They're probably still, writing reports. Maybe still awake till about 2. Days is waking up about 4 to get ready for shift. There's help. Right. Yeah. Plus we have city and Post Falls. There's other cops, not a lot of them, but there's other cops out there.
Is ISP 24 hours up here?
No, they'll shut down at like
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 in the morning.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, I always worked in very small offices. My department was huge. We had 7,000 sworn, but the offices I worked in, one had like 12 sworn officers, the other had maybe 20 at the highest.
Yeah.
They put us on graveyards with no sergeant. Sergeant was on call. It was two fairly youngish troopers on their own.
And they ain't calling the sergeant.
No,
I can assure
dude,
you of that.
Shit. But it can be good and bad, right? Like sometimes you don't have that motivation, that sergeant leading the way, and you're like, laziness can take over.
Yeah.
You know?
Tired, laziness.
Yeah. Like if you're
bored.
working with a shitty partner, you're like, I ain't going out with this dude. We're just going to sit in the office and wait for calls.
Yep.
Yeah, because you don't trust who's next to you.
Yeah,
man, everybody's got those moments in their career where it's like there's like aha moments. You're like, oh, this is what I'm passionate about. This is the kind of cop I want to be. We had one of those, like my obsession with case law. That started with him. That was his fault because we're sitting in a briefing room and I'd had one of those where I'm going down 41 and I got really good at being able to pull plates really fast as they went by. Like my brain just works that way. So I could snag the plate and I run it real quick and I see that it's expired. Well, the RO has an active in-house warrant. I flip on her. She's dipping and dodging and doing some dumb stuff. So I end up in a bit of a mess in the middle of Rathdrum. And I don't think it was quite a use of force, but it was in a house. It was a little messy there in the in the outbuilding. But it was a lot of fun. We ended up with 2 warrants out of it and some drugs. So going back, we're debriefing it the next day. And early in my career, once a week we would have, what did Boardman mess up this week, so everybody can learn.
That's right.
Right? What everybody can learn from Boardman's screw up, because I was one of those. I always say as a cop, like, you've got this circle of comfort and some never leave this one.
Yeah.
But if you get to the outside of that, all of a sudden you're like, I can articulate this, I understand, and then it goes here. And you want that to continue to expand. I pushed that envelope a lot when I was early in my career. But we had a senior deputy and a senior sergeant that were challenging me, said, well, why did you run that plate? Why did you arbitrarily run that plate through an in-house system? I said, well, I can't see the registration sticker from that far away. Oftentimes people don't put them on there, and I'm articulating that part. I said, you can't just look at a license plate and run it. And I go back, and you were a new sergeant. I was like, hey, Sergeant, can I talk to you about this? Like, this seems odd to me. And you're like, what? Said, and you just like, look this up. And there's the case law that says clearly there's no expectation of privacy. It's clearly available to the public. It's not Wilson. I think it is State v. Wilson. It came from a case law where he was parked outside of a mall and he ran it, and then he was a felon with a firearm. But it says that our in-house system is, and that was so eye-opening, and I was so much more confident from that. I was like, case law. Case law, I'm learning the rules of the game, and then I'm fast and effective, and that's why I pushed all that down to my guys. Every briefing, there would be some sort of case law.
You mentioned in-house system, and I got to say, like, the SO, and I'm speaking where I came from, but it's probably the same up here. Their dispatch had so much information.
Yeah.
Ours did not. Like, they didn't keep track of that. So I was always on the phone with the SO dispatch. Like, I'd just call the direct line and be like, yo, I'd have them run him.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we've got this contact, it's like the wealth of information.
That's the problem with, there's other than NCIC, there's no system that all cops everywhere have access to.
That would
all
be
the information.
very useful.
That would be huge. Yeah. First of all, that'd be a
lot of information
system, right? But it'd be because we can't even do it in the county, because there's 2 different dispatch centers that have now they can look at each other's screens, which is helpful. Like our dispatch can look at Post Falls and Rathdrum's screen, but they have to intentionally do that instead of just having it all accessed under one.
Well, and really, you have 3 because you have troopers too.
Troopers,
yeah. So you've got ISP has their own dispatch center, Post Falls has their own dispatch center, and county has their own dispatch center.
And then Spokane, because our criminals don't care about state lines, right?
Yeah.
They cross back and forth. We all deal with the same people. We went and took a couple of my guys to tour the Spokane County Jail a couple weeks ago, and they're talking about inmates that we've shared in common. So it's all the same people. We just we can't see the systems to see the information.
Yeah, so you guys were like jail Eskimo brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but that gets really difficult. And thinking about it from a patrol perspective, I never lost. I mean, I guess I didn't stay in long enough to lose any of that street perspective. It's a safety thing. Yeah. And it's not just a safety thing for cops. It's a safety thing for the citizens. The more information I have, the more, like, I was big on, because de-escalation, everybody thinks it's this. De-escalation is having enough information on the front end to make a sound decision and have the tools in place and the guys. So I'm huge on Spillman, or Spillman's our in-house system here, but populate that. Don't dilute it with crap. Don't fill it with FIs for stats. We need good, actionable information so the cop can get there and say, hey, buddy, check this out. I ran this plate. They contacted him last week. It looks super sketchy.
That was huge when I give you guys the credit for that on our shift. Obviously, our county is split by the lake on the south side. And when you're making it from, wherever in the county going down to Harrison or something like that, there's no signal, right? And especially on the Graves, the roads are shady, right? Especially if you're going somewhere hot. Dudes on one side, they'd go park and they'd do that. I remember you and Fancy like doing the intel, like, hey guys, look at this, and all you're doing is piping information to them so when they get down there, they can make good sound decisions.
Right,
it's huge.
It was fun on Graves because it's still such a small area. City and county work well. I remember I probably annoyed county sometimes because I'd hear you guys' call. We didn't have anything going, so I'd be running it, say, hey, just a heads up, when you run this plate last week, they had this, and this. There's a firearms alert in there.
That's fantastic information, dude.
And it just helps make a better decision.
It does. And speaking of city and county, like we'd have 4 guys, city'd have 4 guys. And there'd be times, I don't know, I mean, some of them still work there. We'd show up at, we'll say showgirl, something somewhere, right? Something cool. And I'd turn around and city guys standing like, hey, you good? You need anything?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're showgirl.
Yeah. Maybe that's always a 13 officer response.
Do we need to make entry?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, troopers, you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this wasn't domestic violence. All right. Oh, yeah, I'm not writing anything.
I didn't think you guys were on.
Making sure you're covered, I guess.
It's funny how that works.
No, well, that's kind of funny. We just jumped into this. It's I've been talking to Jeremy Hyle about coming on for a little while.
Yep.
He's currently a captain at Kootenai County, obviously significant patrol background, law enforcement background from another state. But I want to get on here, like, just talk a little bit about, like, state of the county, what's changed, what's new.
Yeah.
I definitely want to pick your brain about the jail, just because that's something I have no knowledge of. And I know you were not super excited when you first got assigned to that, but you've kind of made the most out of that.
I knew where I was going and knew that was coming. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know about the jail.
Yeah.
And it's been huge. And unfortunately, most cops don't know about the jail. And there's
beyond booking.
Yep.
Nope.
And that's what I was like. We'd have meetings over there, and I'd go and stand in one of the lieutenant's office, and he's like, "Are you waiting for me to go back there?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I don't know where I'm going." But it's huge, and it's so fun. It's fun working the jail. It's fun working with the dudes. It's the same on the street, but it's just confined, right? And obviously there's different dangers and stuff, but it's a blast. The dudes have a blast.
It's a really important function too, and I imagine there's a conduit of information there as well, right? That can be pushed out to the street to help them be safer.
Oh, the jails! Imagine all of that intel that's sitting under one freaking building.
Yeah.
And some are better at it than others. Some are more passionate about it than others. But you get the right detention staffer that gets it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got you. I got you."
Right.
Well, on top of that, let's talk about they're locked in a building with these guys for 12 hours at a time. You put out a picture like, "Hey, does anybody know this guy?" If you've been in jail, if you've been in our jail, and we've had 85 people stare at you 24/7 for the last however long you were in jail, somebody's probably going to recognize you, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something I never thought about it on the patrol side. But if I get intel, through from the patrol side, I'll pipe it over, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know that guy." Of course you do, right? We forget about it. So.
That's a great point, because I had a pretty weird brain for remembering people, and but mine works different. Like faces, I'm not as good, but license plates. I remembered one like 5 months after the fact. Fancy will tell you, he's like, "How did you do that?" But my brain works weird. I don't remember.
It's your special dose of autism.
That's exactly what it is. My spectrum is aligned that way. But like in Casey, that dude could remember faces. He's an encyclopedia, but that's a skill set you can't teach that. Yeah. Like there's
you either have it or you don't. Yeah.
But the jail, I never thought about that. They see them every day. Those are the ones that are interacting.
Every 30 to 60 minutes. 24/7, because that's how often we have to check on every inmate in the facility.
Yeah,
it's so useful. I had county dudes that were like you, and I just sent them a picture of somebody on a traffic stop or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's so and so. Their sister's this person. Right. They're married." I'm like, "Holy fuck, bro! Why do you know all that?" But thank you. That's good information.
I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday, but I'll remember that guy from 6 months after the fact. But I used to tell guys on patrol, a lot of that's passion too, and I don't know how you teach that. Like if you really want, and sometimes it's motivation, right? It's leadership and motivating and explaining the why.
Yep.
And there were some guys like that. Why am I going to go out and do this if I'm just going to get back out in jail? Well, because there's a difference when you cross that state line. They're fearful here of committing crimes, and your why, right? Be a shark. Be a freaking shark. That way, it's hard to commit crimes when you're looking over your shoulder all the time. So
and the criminal element knows it.
Yeah.
They're aware, because I remember guys working drugs, like they'd have to trick Spokane dealers to come over, and they're like, I knew I shouldn't cross the state line.
yeah.
But, they're motivated by money, so they're going to do it.
You're 100% right. And they would know right away. Like, you'd have somebody
They're like,
working. You're like, you want to meet me at state line? You're a cop.
Yeah.
Nobody would ask me to go into Idaho.
But I'll be there. But
Yes, exactly. But nobody would ask me. And then they learn behaviors too. They knew when our shift changed. You remember that?
Yep.
They'd be like, "Oh, don't be out on this day to this day."
Yep.
It's like a different.
Right.
It's a different group. Or they'll mess around a lot during days.
Yeah.
You remember when I first became? I was a lead deputy, so I had my own shift, and it was my first day running a crew, and it was day shift, and I got into a mess. And they were, God, who was it that yelled at me? I think it was another captain up there yelled at me. Captain now, he's like, "You're running the shift now. You're not supposed to be doing this," because it led to like 8 burglaries because there was stolen property and drugs.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I remember
Yes,
that one.
at
That's
Winco.
good work.
Yeah, it was.
good work.
It was, but I was supposed to be running the shift. But
you can run a shift, and you got to balance it, because you're liable for everybody, right? But you got to balance doing proactive, where you can't get too far in where you can't walk away as a supervisor, and that's what I always. But if the dudes aren't doing anything,
you're gonna go find it.
I'm gonna go find it.
Oh, Zach Johns, who's a sergeant now at PD, used to say that all the time when I was running day shift. I said, "We're gonna change the reputation to days. We're gonna go get it." And he'd tell the guys, "We better go find it. Otherwise, Boardman's gonna come out and he's gonna find it. What he's gonna find is gonna be way worse. So we better go find something." But it was fun. You were the first one over there that was doing that. There was kind of a stigma there where it's like, well, the sergeant needs to stay in the office because they're so busy. There's so much administrative work to do that we're going to be in the office. You're like, yeah, nah.
I run a jail with 451 beds with almost 100 staff, and I'm not even in the office right now.
Right.
Like, you got to trust the people you have, and if they have a question, they'll call. I mean, it's go do the work. Dudes know how to do the work. Is how you properly motivate them and keep them motivated.
Yeah. Great way to look at it.
But that comes with training and empowerment, right?
Yeah.
You train them up and you make them confident. Like I said, the case law thing. Then I was like a dog in a bone, dude. Once I got that, I was like, wait, I can become like. And then you go to court, and I was like, oh no, I'm super confident in what I just did. Like I got it, and all of a sudden it expands. And I've seen that transition at the jail. It's just the freaking Jeremy Hyle effect. Getting dudes motivated and empowered to go in there.
Well, this job's fun. This job is so much fun.
Yeah.
And supervisors, leadership can have so much influence over that. If you work for that guy, then I don't want to do anything because you're going to nitpick, you're going to micromanage versus the case law. I didn't tell you the case law because you're just like, oh, Hyle said I could. Negative, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the case law. You learn it for yourself, because then you're like, oh, I want more. And then you learn it yourself, because honestly, that's probably the only one I knew. I'm like, here's a case law. And you're like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
Negative. But it was fun at the next briefing because I brought it up. I was like, hey, I learned something this week. What I did was completely righteous based on this, this, and this. And that's when you realize there was a separation.
Yep.
There was a separation of, I was a cop for a year, maybe a year and a half at that point in time. And some of the others have been cops for 10 or 12 years. Some stop expanding.
Yep.
And it's like, I never want to be the one to miss a child sex trafficker or miss a fentanyl trafficker or something because I didn't have the confidence in my application.
The confidence or the knowledge, yep.
Yes, so that's where I always looked at it. Say, even if guys aren't passionate about dope, man, this is search and seizure case law. Like, you're going to get a big one. And this skill set, even if you don't like it, just roll with me for now. It's going to save you later. Like, you're going to be able to save that kid because you're confident when you can detain. Because out here in Kootenai County, detentions, Terry stops, reasonable articulable suspicion, those get beat up in court.
They get beat up because the one you talked about earlier, the judges, they either don't know or they don't care. I don't know what the mindset behind it, but the Supreme Court says we can do it. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean the Supreme Court, if it ever gets to that point, they'll be like, no, it's good. The Karst decision was me back in the day as a sarge working the streets. Everything was legit during that. They were arguing over 9 seconds of extension.
You were asking for a canine on the radio, and dispatch was doing something else, and it took them 9 seconds to get back, and they called it an unlawful extension of the stop.
Wow. Yeah.
But they extrapolate from the Rodriguez case law, right? And they make that a negative. All Rodriguez said was absent reasonable articulable suspicion.
Correct.
And then they took that and turned it into...
But so speaking of case law changes what we do, obviously. But when bad case law or incorrect case law, whatever comes down, everybody's like, oh, we can't do cop work anymore. Go back to Gantt. You were pre-Gant probably.
Yeah.
You were post-Gant.
Yep.
Post-Gant. Gant was legit. The problem with Gant was the testimony.
Yes.
That dude effed all of us immediately. However, but I did that. Like, that worked on the street. You just have to be able to articulate it.
Right.
And when it happened, everybody's like, "Oh, I can't believe it. We can't do anything." I'm like, "No, we can. Like, you just got to figure out how to work around it."
Right.
Right. We've taken a lot of bad guys off the street because of the knowledge of case law. And the same thing, like, we don't have a canine on. We can't find drugs. Oh, I don't need a dog.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you got to know what you're doing, and you also have to be willing. You have to accept the fact that you're going to let it go down the road sometime.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get it. You're going to miss something. It's all part of the game.
I used to put it to my guys like this. Say, if we win, we get them for 45 to 60 days in the initial, especially if you catch them with felony dope or whatever. If they win, they get another night.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not right, like, we'll get them tomorrow.
Yeah,
like,
we'll be back out tomorrow.
Yeah, they know, like, and it's okay. Yep. And then you just realize that's part of it, and you let it go. Where guys get in trouble is where they can't let go of it, right? Where it's like they think personal. Just don't let it become personal. Just realize these are the rules that we have to, we have to operate within, and it's all right. And it's funny when you bring up you can't get dope with a canine. Anytime Casey would call me to a stop when I was new at PD, it's like, oh, I know my role here. Just pop me out of the back of your car. My job is to get in this car, right? Like, however we do that. But there's a lot of ways to do that. You get admission of paraphernalia, marijuana in the car because it's illegal in the state of Idaho.
Yes, it is.
God, it was so easy back when I was working the road. So easy.
Yeah.
The smell of marijuana.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's like, hey, I smell marijuana in the car. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, well, did you have it in here recently? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yesterday. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to search now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's that fucking easy.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not saying I'm making it up. I can smell it, but it's.
But get them to
it was
admit
easy
to it
back
easy.
then. Yes, it was so easy back then.
That's where we talked about crime rate. This might surprise you because a lot of people are looking at like Idaho and Montana as places to move. Do you know Idaho or Montana right now for crime rate per capita is ahead of Illinois? They're ranked 22nd in the country. So Illinois is for total crime rate, and they're one behind New York. So they're in the top 50. Montana's funny because there's no plain view, there's no plain smell. You have to get a search warrant
for a car. Yep.
Yeah, it makes it really difficult.
That is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And cops, and you're not going to spend 6 hours on every stop. It's not realistic when you have two guys on your shift.
It's not. We had nights on graveyards. We're making 20 plus stops, just two guys, like just bam, 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 bam.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're looking for deuces mostly, but
yeah. But when you're talking like Idaho, man, there's a lot of different things in place and laws that give officers and deputies tools to get into cars and be proactive. And remove that stuff. And like I said, it's hard for me to catch somebody burgling your car. That's luck.
Yeah, that's luck, 100%.
I got to be right place, right time. Even if I catch them with the stolen property, it's hard to get a prosecution because they're going to blame it on their tweaker buddy, right?
Yep.
Catch you with the dope in your pocket, the prompt the bird all day.
But
right?
These aren't my pants, man.
Oh, God. Argument has worked. I cannot believe that
still
argument.
Works.
That is a universal thing that people claim. I've learned because I'm like, holy shit. I talk to cops in other states and they're like, oh, yeah, they all say the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man. Yeah. A lot of people wearing other people's pants out there. I didn't know that.
I don't feel like I should have to stand up in court and say, have you ever put on somebody else's pants? Like, have you ever walked over and put on somebody else's pants?
Well, let's talk about
unintentionally.
Why you didn't have pants on in the first place.
Yes. That's a whole nother side of that.
A couple of bros hanging out with no pants on.
That happens in our office with regularity.
Odd sidebar, but I was talking to my son the other day. He's 17. And he's like wearing pants, but then he's got shorts underneath. And I'm like, that's like a tweaker thing, bro. And I'm like breaking it down for him. Like, how many times you stop people and they got like 3 pairs of pants on?
What, do you got to search all those pockets?
Why the fuck are you wearing so many pants?
Yes. And then I get yelled at by the jail because there's like a needle cap buried in their 6th pair of pants.
Bro, come on.
It's like he had 6 pairs of pants. It's 4 degrees outside, bro. Yes.
Yeah. So I told my son, I'm like, no, man, you're done.
Ain't doing it.
You wear underwear and pants. That's it. You don't wear 3 layers.
If you need to bring the basketball shorts, change out. Don't wear them.
Exactly.
Yes, don't do it. Because if a cop stops, you'd be like, you're wearing 4 pairs of pants. Go ahead and step out of the car.
That's right.
That's a probable cause where we come from.
Absolutely. It's a gateway.
That's funny.
Let's talk about the jail. All right.
Yeah.
So you said you got about 100 employees there running that thing, and you got 470.
So our 451 beds for the jail. That's max capacity. And right now for the last several months, we've been operating between 451, so 470 to 500 ish.
Are they hot racking like a submarine, like Eric used to do?
They they all get their own beds. Anybody that we don't have a bed for, we have plastic sleds that we put a mattress in, and they just have to sleep on the floor. So we've been.
What's life like in the jail up here? Is it cush?
No, not in our jail.
Okay.
We hear Bonner County. They like going to Bonner County because it's nicer.
Really?
It's fun. Dude, they shop it. They 100% shop it.
Yeah, they know which are the good jails. It's not great. The food's not great, but it's nutritionally adequate.
Yeah. A bologna sandwich is a bologna sandwich, brother.
That's right. That's right. But what we have implemented recently is we've given tablets to all the inmates. That way they can do video calls, phone calls. They can read books on there because we make revenue off of it, but it's not about the money. It's about if I can get one tablet per inmate, I can take physical books out of the jail. So then my deputies aren't in there because they have to go push a book cart in and wait for the inmates. So there's more stuff sitting around in the jail, more contraband potentially. If I can prevent books from being shipped in, we're stopping drugs, contraband from being shipped in because I can go become an Amazon shipper right now, right? And load a bunch of meth in a book and send it in. And so instead of having to try to prevent it from coming in, find it when it comes in, we just don't allow, right? And then more phone calls, more video visits. First of all, keeps them calm, right? Just like with kids, they're playing on the phone. It's a babysitting tool, but it keeps them calm. Anxiety comes down, and they're not causing problems in the jail. For one, they're talking to their family. For two, they're busy, idle hands and all that. So we keep them busy. And then the intel that comes, because we still record every video visit, every phone call, they can, it's called chirping, but essentially text back and forth. It's intel for us. Mm-hmm. And then it makes money. So it's a lot of positives.
I had no idea jails were doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Do they get to play games on there?
There's games.
Candy Crush.
There's games, movies, streaming, music. We give them headphones that they can't, wrap around their neck because they'll break.
Yeah.
But just different things. For one, keep them busy. For two, moneymaker. And
are there like time restrictions on it?
For
like the tablet usage and
like time, is that what you said?
Yeah.
We shut them off in the evenings late. I think we decided like 10 or 11 or something. We're shutting them off just for keeping the jail calm.
You just let them watch Disney movies the whole time or what?
Yeah, whatever they want to do.
Because there's a part of me that thinks about it. I go back to like dad mode, right? Where I'm like, no, I don't want them to be on a tablet the whole time because you won't do anything and you'll just sit in your room.
But what are they supposed to do?
But in the jail.
But what are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Now we gotta get up and clean, right? And because they're responsible for mopping their floors and stuff like that. But other than that, what are they going to do?
Honestly, it makes it safer because I think about them, hollering for a call. Hey, I need to get on a video call. And detention deputies can't because they've got a million other things going on, but then they're all pissed off. And then you got to bring them out of the cell. And then it reduces those interactions. Yep. So I can see that being a benefit. Yeah. I don't know. I'm for that. And you get a little money.
It works so far.
That's okay.
That's kind of interesting.
And in Kootenai County, you have to get creative with your funding sources.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Like the big monster in the room, but you just have to because nobody that lives out here wants to get further taxed. I can tell you from a real estate perspective that it is a huge benefit for good, productive members of society moving here that they don't get the shit taxed out of them. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to feel like they're leasing their house. So you got to get creative with where you get funding sources from.
What kind of recreation do they get?
So it depends on what level you're classed at and then where you're housed. But we have an indoor rec and we have outdoor rec, just depending on what you choose to do and what you're able to do. But we have a couple big pods of 50 plus inmates that are all in a pod together. They sit around, play cards, shoot shit, whatever, play on tablets. But then they'll have access to, because there's tables and the sleds on the floor, stuff like that. But we have just open yards in the jail where they can just go. They would play handball and stuff like that. We actually one of my lieutenants threw some racquetballs in there because if they don't have something, they're going to make something.
Yeah,
we don't want them making things.
Right.
So give them a ball to use. They can issue it out and they can play their handball or whatever, and then we take it back. Yeah. So, and that's big groups of them. For the ones that are locked down, they can get out and walk around by themselves.
They have weights or anything, or
no? We have no weights.
Feed them lots of soybeans so the estrogen levels go up.
Nutritionally acceptable.
Yes, good. So how are you guys able to manage that if you're consistently 5% over your max or over your capacity?
Keeping inmates moving around. Yeah. Honestly, we have a classification unit that keeps track of who's where, who's together, who can't be together. Every day we're moving inmates, and it's not just the overcrowded. So think about, I was telling Seth earlier, we have 451 beds, and that doesn't count for, this cell. This guy can only be by himself, but we have, 8 people that can only be by themselves, but we only have 4 one-man cells. We're taking up, multiple beds for one person.
Right.
On top of that, things break. The original part of the jail was built in the 70s, and it was built as county jails. County jails are not meant to be prisons. Right? Prisons are built a little harder because they're felons. They're in there for years and years at a time. County jails were never meant for that. So especially in the 70s, when the biggest problem you had was the town drunk, a DUI. They're going to sit in there, going to sober up, they're going to get out. Our population has flipped over the last probably 10 years. We're 70% felons in the jail. So the crime or the crimes that they're in for have, they're more violent. The drug problems obviously force the crimes that way. But they tear up the jail, right? They flush towels down the toilets, ramen wrappers, clogs our pipes. We're shutting, not just a cell, but multiple cells, pods down because of plumbing issues, and that's constant. So our poor classification unit is overworked, but we just manage. But we put more people on the floor if we have to get them out of other cells that are either broken and they can't be in there or whatever. It's a mess. It's daily.
That's a constant juggling of people and personalities. Yes. Are you guys housing people on multi-year sentences? Because California switched, and then the county jails started holding people instead of sending them to prison. They were keeping them in county for years, and it's like they're not built for that.
No, I'm not saying we haven't had people in for long term, but there's a recent murder. He was in jail for murder, awaiting trial. Violated the terms of his release. He ended up in there for a year or so before trial, and as soon as he was sentenced, we got him out. He caused some problems for us, but you can only be sentenced to county jail for a year unless you get multiple 1-year sentences that are not served at the same time. So they could potentially be in, but the bigger problem is 451 beds, right? At least 100 inmates every day have been either sentenced to IDOC or have been sent for a rider, but they don't have room for them either. So you've been sentenced to 20 years in prison, and you spend 2 years in county because they don't have room for you. So that's another problem we have is we're overfull because the state doesn't have any room for them either. So they could be in county jail for years, but they're not sentenced to county jail. They're just still stuck here.
This is the place to keep them. At that point, right?
Does the state need more prisons?
Yes.
Where do you send them right now?
Our jail. They send our jail. No, IDOC is Department of Corrections. Okay. They've recently contracted with Arizona, at least. I know they were looking for other states to contract with that have bed space, so they can take their inmates and send them to open beds in another state. Because once you're in prison, it doesn't matter what prison you go to. It's just you need to be in a prison.
Okay.
We, as the county, try to work with them to take as many as they can. We got a good relationship with the state, but also we have a great relationship with other counties because some counties have room. So if you've been sentenced to prison, again, it doesn't matter what county jail you sit in, state doesn't have room for you, so you can go sit in Bonneville or Nez Perce or something like that. Gotcha. So we work with them, but as soon as we get 20 out the door, we get 20 more sentenced. So it's a revolving door. So the state's going to have to solve the state problem. I know their new director is working on it, and she has big hopes. But it's first of all, she wants to build a new prison. She hasn't broken ground. Doesn't have funding yet.
It's money.
Where would they put it? Because is it down in Boise somewhere?
They'd probably put it down at the same campus it's in Kootenai outside of Boise. Gotcha. That's where the main prison is.
Yeah. You want to hear a crazy story? When 2016, I believe, there's the largest earthen dam in the U.S. is in Orville, the town I worked in. The county jail sits basically right below that, and our CHP office.
Below the dam?
Yeah. There was the emergency spillway failed. The concrete broke up while they were using it. We're having record rains. The dam is about to burst. Like, I was working on the road down there, evacuating the city. that day. I thought I was going to die in a fucking flood. It was a strange situation. And they had to evacuate the entire jail, and it was a big jail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you imagine?
We don't have enough.
The logistics?
No, it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, a fucking nightmare, dude. I don't know how they did it, but.
Well, I have an idea. Perhaps we don't put a jail at the base, at the bottom of a dam. Right. There should have been somebody somewhere be like,
wait a minute, I'm not a rocket doctor, but we should probably not put that there.
I'm just a dumb street cop. But that sounds like it would be really, really challenging. Should this very predictable circumstance happen upon us at some point in time.
I'm pretty sure they were using school buses at one point, just shoving them on there to get them out, because it's like
I don't think there's any jail, and I don't want to speak all or nothing, but we don't have enough vans, trucks, buses to put every inmate we have. Even if we just loaded them up, we didn't care who they were with.
Right.
We didn't care what their classification was. We don't have enough for that. Let alone we look at Renfro when he was here, Kohlberger. If Ada had to move him. You can't put him with anybody else. So, like, the logistics, we'd be calling everybody, like, hey, I know you got a bunch of kids. Grab your minivan and come in.
Heck yeah.
So,
I got the Batman, dude. Thanks for calling me out for having a minivan. I appreciate that on the air. It's good. I have a minivan, everybody.
That was just a what if.
Just those that thought I was kind of cool. Not as much. Yeah, how about that? There's a part of me that just thinks, like, all right, baton death march them, dude. Just frickin' pony up.
Just encircle them in a field and wait it out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, what is the hierarchy like at the Kootenai County Jail? I've heard rumors about, like, at state prisons, it's kind of funky and flipped, and each state has, like, how does that break down sociologically at the Kootenai County Jail?
For the most part, because of how we're set up, and I think you guys should come in through a tour because you don't understand a little bit better. But we have a couple open pods that are just, 50 man. There are bunks in the back. There's tables, TVs, and it's like a barracks is the best way I can explain it. And, they just mill around all day. That is different than the other pods where there's hard cells built in, and then there's a day room. So 4 people, 8 people get out at a time. The rest of them are locked down. So there's really not a chance for a hierarchy as much, but anytime you put more than one human being together, a hierarchy, or any mammal, a hierarchy gets set up, right? Yep. But in the bigger pods, those start to come out. And obviously the big pods, we don't house the violent, the dangerous, but just because you're not here on something violent or dangerous doesn't mean you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We just got you on weed this time, but your history, whatever. The cream rises to the top, and they start to take charge. But you use that to your advantage. That helps keep the peace in the pod, right?
Because you can go to 1 or 2 people and say, hey, this is what's going to happen if it stays going this way. Yeah.
And that's one of the concerns when we put the tablets in as a whole. There's 50 tablets in a pod, and there's 50 inmates, and somebody's going to go hoard them all. That may happen once. Yeah. Right. But you get the other 49; they're all pissed off, or if they, because we're concerned about it, we just handed them a weapon, right? Mm-hmm. However, you could pick up him and use him as a weapon. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. He's a little fella. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you can pick him up and hit me with him. Like they have.
He drives a minivan. Right? I can pick him up and throw him. Yeah. He called me Gimli. He goes, watch Lord of the Rings. You throw him into a fight.
I stand by it. Gimli was an incredible warrior. Okay.
I did watch the movie. I still didn't appreciate it, but I respect it a little bit more.
I see it, and I don't like it.
Throw me.
But again, the hierarchy. Like if somebody uses it as a weapon, they're all going to be, it was that guy, right? Yeah. Don't take mine away because that freaking a-hole over there. So it's worked out so far. I'm not going to say that we haven't had issues. Not going to say that nobody's going to get hit with one. But overall, the hierarchy in the jail keeps it from happening.
Do you have one-offs, do you have gangs in there?
Yeah.
What's the predominant gang in this area?
They're white Aryans.
SVC.
Wait, don't fuel that. This is not a white supremacist area. We get that comment a lot.
No.
But they're there. They're in every jail, first of all. Yeah.
And then we have, because they're either in our community or, I think the usual is about 20 to 30% out of state. And you can imagine they're Spokane. If they're in a gang over there, they come through our jail. And that's another thing that we have to track. We can't put them in with, they have to keep track of rival gangs, so they can't put them together.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, aren't the majority of the gangs over there when I was still running around they were little sects of like Bloods and Crips, like 3rd Street Pimps or whatever, and then you had like the whatever the Hilliard gang, like little groups like that, and they'd click up and have colors and all that stuff. But I mean, SVC is kind of an Idaho Idaho born and bred one, right? Didn't that come out of the prisons?
I think, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where it got kicked off down there.
It was a couple of guys that came from prison ended up over in the middle of the county, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of violence in the jail? I mean, is it pretty daily?
No, it's actually where more of our problems come in is inmates with severe mental health issues.
Oh, yeah.
And it's violence because they're just violent because of whatever issues they have. We have some inmate on inmate fights or inmate on deputy fights, but we keep it to a minimum. And then the way we handle it, that prevents it from, talk about crime on the street, Spokane, Washington, Portland, crime's different. The laws are different. The way we handle them is different than, maybe a county to the north of us. We're a little more aggressive, a little more, not saying we're aggressive to the inmates on a daily basis, but when there's time for aggression, we're aggressive. And we're talking about de-escalation earlier. Sometimes the best de-escalation is a punch in the face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that it is.
It keeps you from getting hurt more.
That's right.
No, I don't think anyone should argue that. If you do, just stay out of Idaho. You don't belong.
Well,
I agree.
Like I said, we haven't even gotten into like what his history is, but a lot of that you were a SWAT commander for. You still are.
A minute or two.
Yeah,
I've
10
passed
years?
the torch. I've passed the torch.
Right.
But
I was told to ask you a question by someone that we know dearly. Have you ever kicked anyone out of a Bearcat that shouldn't have been in a Bearcat?
No. He was standing behind the Bearcat. I think I know what you're talking about, if I can remember correctly.
His turnout may or may not be right back.
Boardman, who the F is this? Oh, I'm Faller. Oh, nice, Faller. Get the F out of here, Faller.
That was pretty. It was one of them. I've been around. I've been involved in some things, and when you're responding to an officer who's been shot, first of all, my co-commander and I, actually we were both team leaders at the time, we were fighting over who was going to be in command, and it turned out neither of us ended up in command. So we were ready to go. We're ready to roll, putting our dudes together, and I'm looking at the faces of the men, and I see somebody out, he's in a helmet, in a vest. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
I mean, what I believe,
it was like Tourette's, because you're going through like check.
Yeah, I'm talking to the dudes, I'm giving what we need, and the way I remember it is like, good sir, who are you?
Yes.
And he's like, I'm Faller. That's the way I remember it. He's not here.
Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
I was like, can you please kindly step over there?
Kindly step over here where it's more safe.
I'm concerned for your safety.
So just the back.
I'm Faller.
So we're talking about Dave, obviously.
Yes.
So he was on FTO, and you were his FTO?
Yeah.
Eric was his FTO.
Well, you don't often get, officer down, shots fired call. So I was the closest to Bearcat, and I was still pretty new. I was still on probation with the team, but I had a trainee. It's like, all right, all bets are off.
You can't leave him.
No, and you're coming with me. Yeah. And, I mean, I did assess. Dave's been through some stuff, just in a different career. Like he's capable in those circumstances.
If I got shot, I would be very comfortable having Dave put his finger in any one of the orifices that were bleeding.
Why but my problem is you two don't wait till you're shot. Well, right? But
preemptive is always better.
That's true. Preventative maintenance.
Yes.
But yeah, I just threw him in the back of the Bearcat. Say, do me a favor, start getting helmets, throw one on yourself, and then we're going to get this piece of armor there as fast as we can. And then when we got there, it was a mess. So we ended up right at the front, and there was just no time. So it was like, hey, dude, you're in it. And he goes, copy that. I'll pass out gear until I get further instruction. I said, somebody will give you further instruction. It just came and then in the face of Jeremy Hyle going, get the F out of here. And then we proceeded to probably have, for a call like that, I know cops are weird. And he's okay. Justin came out well. Yep. He's still working there. But we got to completely take a house apart. And I was driving the Bearcat. And it may have been one of my favorite moments.
Very rarely do you get to exact that much destruction.
Oh God!
Legally,
you know what though? That sends a message. Like you shoot one of our guys, we will fucking tear your house down and drag you out.
100%. And
that's the way it should be.
And he was laying in wait because he thought we were coming in. We're not coming in that house.
Yeah.
We got. We took the fence down in the back. Spokane came over with a couple of Bearcats.
Yep.
We proceeded to just methodically after 6 hours waiting for a search warrant.
Right.
It was a lot of standing around, but when the time came, all the windows, all the doors, the fences, the garage doors, finally what did it in.
Yep.
But we took that house apart.
Too bad you weren't doing real estate at the time. You could have dropped a card right in there.
That's true. That's true.
You guys want to sell this.
That one would have been a teardown,
bro.
They rebuilt. It was on Google Maps for a while with all boarded up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was showing somebody, and I'm like,
I remember somebody daring me, like, it was a split level. It's like, I bet you can't grab that couch and bring it down the stairs. It's like, frickin' stand by. You mean it's in the way of the robot?
That's right.
Copy that. I got this.
I'm acutely aware of what it looks like when you tear down a house with a bear pack, because you guys did it to my house.
That's training. Yeah.
Yes. In I should add, in a training environment.
I didn't go to the jail.
when we tore our house down, they brought the Bearcat out and they did the exact same thing. Well, they tore the entire front wall off, and I was like, hell yeah.
It's impressive. I mean, that ran, but how often do you get that kind of training on a real structure?
Speaking of the devil, Cantrell is calling me right now.
Funny, that a boy.
There's the guy driving the Bearcat. So, man, what a great way to solve it. And I know some people out there probably in woke cities would be like, oh, that's excessive. I'm like, well, fuck that. Like, why are we going to put a body in there and risk someone else getting shot when we have this incredible tool? And bad guy was taken to jail successfully, I'm assuming.
He killed himself.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Well, hey, that's more successful in my eyes. Right?
Well,
problem solved.
It was going to be a shooting. He was sitting back there with a 308 or a 30-30, but he had it up on a tripod or a bipod, and he was sitting on the back of a car waiting for us to come in the third bay of the garage.
That tells me he made the right call, because somebody would have got shot.
Well, he changed because, everything used to be dynamic entry and speed.
I did it. I ran explosive breach, dynamic entry for drug warrants for years.
Right.
Because I didn't know any better. That's what we were doing.
That's the way it was done
on the team.
Yep.
And as I matured and learned a little bit, I'm like, that's dumb. Like, how much dope tell me, how much dope are you willing to die for? And then when we get to that point, like, we'll call you in. Right?
There was a stage in my career where I was like, oh, come on, I want to get the guy, right? And I get it, but absolutely right. And you change that philosophy. But even that circumstance was an indication of where the team had gone, because I think there was a highlight to people's skill sets. It's not a structured like plug and play where everybody can do the same thing. It's like, guys, use the experience you brought, because in that circumstance, I'll call him out on here, what kept that from being a shooting, and we had a guy up in the crow's nest. I still think what kept that from being a shooting is Breaky. Because he said that third car bay, he goes, if that's walled off, and he has a construction background, if that third bay is walled off and that's separate, we need to pump some ferrets into there. So he pumped ferret rounds, and I think that's what
I think that's what did it. As soon as the gas hit bad guy?
Yeah, because that's when it was chaos, as you can imagine. We're pumping, 12 gauge sock rounds or 40 millimeter rounds through all the windows.
Yeah, I saw you do that to my house too.
Yeah, they're knocking doors. I mean, it's loud, right? And at some point when they started, shooting ferrets, it went over the radio. Like, was that a gunshot? And we're like, yes,
so hard to
we
tell.
were shooting, into it. So we couldn't tell, but looking back at it, probably exactly what it was.
Right. But that was just recognition. And we were encouraged on the team. Hey, whatever skill set you bring, like this is, utilize that. Stop, pause. There was an amount of mutual respect where somebody's like, hold on a sec, hang on. Call it out. Cool. And then we push.
That's a perfect team when management is open to hearing other ideas, even from the door kickers, right?
But it was always that way. I think it was a product of debriefs. There was no rank.
You have to. And speaking of John and I ran that team for a long time together and had a blast. But we had an intention of taking the team to where it needs to be. The team needs to be able to operate. There's things that the team could do now that before would have never been able to do, because we have dudes going in. Dudes are the ones that are handling the problem, right? The guys and gals. I don't really say dudes, but
dudes is collective.
Dudes is collective. Yeah. And we went to a SWAT commander class back in the day, and there's a couple things I took from that. One of those is, if you're operating under emotion, you lose half your IQ points. I'm not a rocket doctor. There's probably a study done somewhere that can make that sound smarter. But if you think about it, if you're upset, you're not thinking right. If you're in love, right? That's why dudes get themselves in trouble thinking with the wrong head, right? You're operating under emotion. The other thing is, if you are in command, you're not in control. You're not in control of that situation. The dudes on the ground are in control of that. You're, as the commander, you're just giving your guidance. All right, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get the search warrant. We're going to blow out all the windows. We're going to breach all the doors. We're going to knock. We're not going in the house, right? What that looks like when it's time to go, like, that's on you guys. But this is, we're just here to give commanders guidance and let you guys work within the parameters that we've set forth.
I think, but what changed is when do we have control? Like, when does the SWAT commander have control? And this is where it changed for me with the SWAT team. Now, it's, to me, I always relate it back to like coaching football, right? By the time we get to a game, the coaching's over.
Yep.
Right? Like that, I have control during practice. And when I have you out here and we're working and functioning, I'm putting you in scenarios in a controlled environment. that's where I've got some input. But once it's game time, man, like you're right, control on there, that's an illusion. If you're waiting till that moment, it's over.
The only thing you can potentially control is stopping the train. And that's where either stopping the train or starting the train, right? Hey, we can't do anything until we get a search warrant, or it's time to, whatever that is. But you have to be calculated on, because you can hear the radio traffic, especially as a commander. Most call outs, I was coming from off duty, and as soon as I get on the radio, I now own it. And I'm not ready to own everything because I don't have enough knowledge, right? Because if I say, hey, I'm on the air en route and something bad happens, they'll look to me, why didn't you stop it? Well, I didn't know. So I'd take time to listen as long as I could based on, some of them were a barricade, like those are easy.
Right.
We know what we're doing, but shots fired, hostage, stuff like that. I got to absorb it enough to be able to stop it if I need to keep our guys safe or whatever. And reading, I don't read. I listen to books I listen to audiobooks, but I was listening to a book.
You said you're from Texas. I understand.
Well, I'm not even from. I'm most recently from Texas. I'm not even from Kansas, which is even worse, I think. But there was it was a fire battalion chief or somebody that was, in one of these books that talked about a tactical pause on the air where, things are moving and he's like, it's just not feeling right. And he'd I just get on the air and just, hey, everybody stand by. And everybody's like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Nothing. He has nothing to say. He's just like, give me a minute. Let me think through it. So I use that quite a bit. Like, hey, everybody stand by, because we got guys on the team that are, they're hard chargers, and I just need them to stop for a second. And instead of being like, Boardman, fucking stop what you're doing. Just, hey, stand by. And you're like, okay.
And then people start to recognize, they're like,
all right, I get it.
All right, use the frontal part of my brain.
Right. Calm down a little bit.
Yeah, as the commander, right, you need to have the widest field of view, because the guy at the front, he is probably a much more narrow field of view. He's focused on one thing.
Over the gun.
You're back here. I see it all.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's why John and I always got a little too close, because even as the commander, I like to be able to see it. Right. John's worse than me. He's got worse ADD. That's where he ended up at the back.
Can't verify.
We ended up at the back of a U-Haul truck one day together because of his ADD. But he wanted to be able to see it, and so that's when we could see. You can move things around because you can see where they're at instead of just trying to visualize them. So
but a lot of that comes with trust from the team too, because if you guys are saying it, they know that you've got best interests and you can see all the other pieces. Hey, we're not going to do that yet, and there may be things you don't know why. And in the middle of a scene, that is not the time to ask me why.
Nope.
Like, trust me.
Not the time and a place.
Yes. And if you got that, sock it away. We'll come and have a debrief. If you have a problem with, because I remember that at the beginning, if you have a problem with what I did, this is the time to do it. There's no rank in here. Let's go. Let's hash it out.
And we stood in front of the men and answered for some things. We had some pretty heated debriefs.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember one where I yelled at you before.
Allegedly. Oh, probably. Yeah, 100%. Well, you've yelled at me several times. I had to go through the.
One, I
had to scale it back.
Each one of them, you had to remember when you were talking to your therapist about it.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
Crying. What page of the diary you wrote about it?
Yes. This is very therapeutic, actually, being in front of you right now. On microphone, it's good. I get to air all this stuff. It's great.
Are you gonna cry? Do we have tissues?
We usually do.
The debrief is so important, though, man. I was on a high risk warrant service team, not SWAT level, just below that. But I remember being a new guy on that team, and every door we kicked, there'd be a debrief after. Every guy would go through exactly what he did, and it would get to me, and I'm like, I'm so new, I don't remember shit.
I showed up.
I went into a room, and then that's it.
But you don't know what you don't know at that point, and that's still that part's still important. I always looked at debriefs. I did that on my shifts on patrol. Said we're never going to miss the opportunity to debrief a critical incident or a high stress or rapid rapid decision making, because those are so fleeting. The learning opportunity gained from that, we can't replicate this. You can't replicate this in training.
I was in the Army first, so I was telling Seth earlier.
I would have guessed Marine Corps. I actually brought crayons somewhere around here for you. I would have guessed Marine Corps.
No. See, my hair's a little bit long. I need a haircut. No, I was in the Army, and everything the Army, especially in a training environment, everything the Army did, you would do something, and then you would force an AAR, right? And the dumbest one I ever remember, I was in air assault school. It's no big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
I'll be here all day. We did a forced march to a training site. And then they stopped. We took the gear off, and they're like, all right, AAR, 3 good, 3 bad. And we're like, we got here. I'm a little it's super dumb, but it forces you to, I don't care about the good, right? The good is to make you feel good. The bad is what we can learn from it.
Yeah.
And my first team I was on, and I'm just a brand new guy, and we'd finish an op. They're like, "Oh, we're the best. Screw, high five. Oh, we did everything right." And I'm like, "Nah, like, guys, are we going to be honest with each other? Like, we kind of, I mean, not that we failed, but the point of this is to get better. Like, no, we don't know. We did good.
We can't be
all right.
And the tendency is to be results based.
Yep.
Where even if you're running an agency, like if you're running Kootenai County or running Coeur d'Alene PD, the tendency is to be results based. Where everything turned out turned out well.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay to look at it and say, all right, where were we good? I used to say this in briefing. Were we good or were we lucky? Now,
we are lucky more than we are good.
Yes. 100%. So how do I reduce the luck and increase the good, right? Because we want to get to where there's always going to be a little bit of that that you can't really control. But don't be results based. How do we increase the good and reduce the lucky part? And we have to. It starts with being honest in the briefing room.
Yep.
I think that should carry over to the civilian world. Honestly, like, we need to do more of that.
I agree.
In our business.
I 100% agree. Having debriefs is huge, and we talked about that early. But it's just us finding time when everything's chaotic.
Refer back to the chaos.
I'm the guy that's going to go pee in the middle.
That's cool. We'll keep going.
There's also it's hard to have a hard conversation with somebody, to sit down man to man, face to face, and be like, Seth, and not that you did anything horrible, but like you could be better.
Right.
But
that's when the egos flare up. And,
it is.
And you try to remove all that. I think about that a lot personally, but it's always there, dude.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like for me, thankfully, jiu-jitsu has been a big part of my life, and that has helped kill the ego.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you face that test, it is very humbling. If you face that test over and over and over again, and you finally get to a point where, like, you know what? Like, there's always going to be somebody better than me.
There's always somebody better.
Always.
And that's, now that he's not here, I can talk good about him. Like I saw that early on with him. There's a couple dudes that I've had the pleasure of working with that they're going to replace me.
Yeah.
Right. And I should be good with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be here forever. If I set my team, division, bureau, agency, whatever up, that it will fail if I'm not here. I have failed.
Yeah.
And historically in the Army, in law enforcement, in the civilian world, people want to have all the knowledge and they need to be the most important.
Right.
But we have to know that, like, it could end. I could walk out of here, get hit by a car. I could hit it rich and just, like, you know what? My gun's in my car. It's in front of the shop. Come pick it up. Something could happen. This place will continue, so why not set it up to continue with success?
Yes.
And you should find guys that come up beneath you that, like, you know what? You're going to surpass me, and good for you, right? Because I can only deal with working graveyards and getting up and spending 9 hours in court every day. That only lasts so long when I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. But we have to maintain the law and order, especially here. Like, we need to maintain it so it doesn't turn into what's across the board.
That is the perfect example of leadership. There are examples of bad leadership, right? Where the guys that are like, they recognize people like this that are coming up and they suppress them and they hold them down because their ego can't stand it that someone might be better at it than them.
Or they take what those guys do and they immediately flip it into what they've done.
Yes.
I've never heard you take credit and you're like, no, my guys are great. My guy, if it's good, and I take this back to coaching, if we won, it's because of my guys. If we lost, it's because of me.
Yep.
And man, that resonates with the guys that you work for. Right. And it's just continuing to pass that legacy. You're 100% right. And you'll feel better about it. When I left the PD, I know there's guys there that I helped, that I Jeremy Hyled along the way, right? That I know that they're using some of that. And some of those guys still reach out to ask me case law questions, which I think is great. When I left county and went to PD, you were one of the hardest calls. So I was like, hey, bro, and you were like, man, I'm not going to pretend like I'm happy about this, but just carry that on over there. You're going to continue to take that and pass it on over there, and just remember that stuff. That's what we leave behind, and we all have a vested interest in keeping this community, not Washington. Washington's ranked 4th in the country. We're 50th. Why is that?
Yep.
It's because the men and women in blue and green and our citizens back us. It's
huge.
It is a symbiotic relationship, and we're partners.
Yep.
But how do we retain that? How do we keep that? That's the goal.
Yep.
Yes.
And I don't think like ego plays any role in that. But it's tough. I mean, I said it when I left county, man. It's different because it's an election, right? It's like, how do you end up in that position without ego?
It's tough. Eric and I, he's my stoic brother. We have a lot of conversations about stoic philosophy, and I'll often call him and be like, bro, I need a stoic. I need to talk me off this ledge, because I can get emotional and lash out. And,
we're good at giving each other that advice. We're not good at hearing it ourselves. So we're like, you tell me I'm an idiot, bro.
I need you to talk me off this ledge and chill me the fuck out.
It's okay to be passionate, we'll call it. Not emotional, but passionate.
Passion, I like that.
You have the passion, but you have to know when to be like, you know what? And this is, I'll go back to running a shift as a sergeant, by far the best job in the world.
Oh, it's so much fun.
One of my sergeants yesterday asked me, I think it was yesterday, might have been the day before, might have been last year, hell, I don't know. Anyway, he asked me, he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. He's like, how have you stayed with it? And it's, first of all, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of different things, so I've never got bored. Like when I start, I push a car for my whole career. And I'm like, no, I want to go do that. No, I want to go do that. And then you promote and you start seeing what you can affect. But going back to running a shift with these idiots, you're in command, you're never in control, right? If you're not on scene, you don't have all the information. And I remember going to, I think it was post-U, going to a pursuit where I thought I knew what was going on. I had two guys on a traffic stop. I had another agency K-9. It turned out to a pursuit. The number one car was calling it out. I was furious. And I remember dooring up with Fancy at a train, lights sitting there. I'm like, why? I'm furious. And we ended up, there was a bit of a fight in a dope house, and it was a shit show. I got done, and it was Kootenai. He was number one on that. He came, and he's like, hey, Sarge. I'm like, nope, not yet, because I'm not ready to hear it. Yeah. And because if I'd have gone in and like, what the F, why'd you do this and this and this? So finally, when I was ready, and it's what I've passed on, I'm like, tell me a story. Okay, I'm not asking questions. I'm not being accused. Just tell me a story. Well, this and this and this, and then my cover deputy. It was a brand new car with a new transmission lock, so he couldn't get the car in gear. I'm like, okay, that's why he was not in. He's not calling the pursuit because he's not there because he can't get in his car, right? So by the time he explained everything, and I'm like, okay, that checks out. I'm good with all that because if I would have piped off, I'd be the asshole, right? Because I don't know what I'm talking about. And I've worked for people like, why did you blah blah do that? Well, it's not what I did. That's not accurate. Yeah. You're hearing third hand. This is what, and then they look like an asshole. So I try not to look like an asshole. I am one sometimes, but I try not to look like one. But it's all about, your passion. I'm passionate. I love what I do. I love leading the dudes, but you got to control it so you don't look like an asshole. Yes. So that's where I say it's good to be passionate, but take your minute before you say something because it's hard to take that back.
The tactical pause. I got to remember that with my wife. Actually, that's an important life lesson out there.
I've used that. Yeah. I promise, I've used that. I've been like, wait a minute, don't say that. I know that sounds really, really kind of funny and. It's a good one, but don't do that. I was gonna say
it's going to make you feel good for about that long. That's honestly talking about wives using that with their wives. My wife, she's the one that keeps me grounded. She's the one that I go home and it's like she outranked me in the Army. I was the guidon bearer in her promotion ceremony.
Yeah, I've seen that picture actually.
Yeah, she was out of the Army when I got promoted to sergeant finally. And my captain in my promotion ceremony, gave me the old, because I was back before Velcro. I was back when the rank was on the collar, right? And he gave me a little boop boop, and she put my rank in my collarbone. And blew him away. Yeah. So like that, she keeps me humble. She keeps me grounded. When I go to work and hear guys, oh, you're the best, blah blah, and keep me humble.
Yeah.
How? Because I think
our wives are good at that.
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah. I think it's very common for guys as they promote to, I don't know, lose that energy, become apathetic. Mm-hmm. How do you fight that? Because you seem to have a shit ton of energy. you like Brett Nelson. Has that energy.
I don't. We'll talk about just generalities. The ones that promoted and lost it, did they ever have it? Or did they appear to have it? Because I love what I do. Every job I've had, I've absolutely loved. And it's wanting the dudes to, because I remember how much fun I had on the street. Yeah. I remember I was in training with Brian Ellis, I said earlier. So clean, we had pool cars. We'd go out back and we'd wait for 2 hours for day shift to bring our cars in. And he's like, hey, let's go for a walk. And we go out and stop cars while walking. I'm like, can we do this? I'm like, holy crap. We're like, because we're right next to the PD, right? The jail's in the basement. We're hooking dudes out of cars and walking them down to the basement. And everybody else is sitting there waiting for a car. Loved what he did. That was so much fun. So when I get dudes that are like, oh, well, it's cold. There's no crime here. Nay. Let's go find it, dudes. Yeah. Like, have you ever thought about going to front half graves where there's no calls for service and imagine what we could do? Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's finding but that was a core group of dudes that did that, and then they've all spread other places. You don't always have those guys, so you have to find ways to motivate them because I don't like sitting around. I know Paulie Meade always said, I'm a shark. I got to keep moving or I'll die. I got to keep moving.
That's funny.
He's got to keep moving, man. This job is so much fun. There's so much stuff to find to get out there. go earn your pay.
Yeah. I guess it does take all types, right? Because there's value in the guys that just want to respond to calls too.
Yep.
You go do that.
You go do that and let us
go. You guys are going to go do this.
Yep. And I never had, as a sergeant, I would say, hey, look, if that's you, that's okay. Like, if you don't want to go out and be super proactive, but I'm going to ask you to be busy. And when those guys that are out being proactive don't shag that call on the screen, that's yours.
Yep.
Right? I'm not playing the district's game.
Right.
Okay. Like, if that one's on the screen, they're gonna end up writing more police reports than you. Right? They have 3 in custodies and they're gonna have 2 different reports, and then whatever stolen
and they're
property.
gonna go to court. So
exactly.
if you want to sleep,
take the crash, bro. Like take, you know what I mean? Like, and that's okay if that's, and everybody goes through like seasons of life where maybe it switches from being really proactive to answering calls. And
that's the joy of his job, though.
Yes.
Because you can come in and be like, I'm not feeling it today.
Yep.
Perfect. You do bare minimum today because I know tomorrow you're going to earn it.
Absolutely. And but that's a good supervisor as well. Just, hey man, just let me know what's up. Like, I don't need to dive into a bunch of personal stuff, but you're human, right? Whatever you're comfortable with. But hey, if it's one of those, it's cool. You know what I mean? Just go out there, back me up. Are you good that way? Everything okay? Like, and then, I'm not going to expect you to go smash tonight.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yep.
Damn. Good. I'm sitting here just wishing I had better leadership in my I do. Like, I had very few good leaders. And they, honestly, the ones I had were on specialized teams that I had to volunteer for, and I had to put a lot of extra work into driving. You know what I mean? Like, for me, the warrant service team and our SRT team, which did riot control stuff, the best times of my life. But I look back and I had really good sergeants that were like super invested.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I had to drive 3 hours to go fucking serve a 5-minute warrant, but it was fun to me because I had that. And I didn't have that in my offices. I had just guys that were just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And that makes the world of difference, man.
Yeah, it does.
I've realized that because I had a couple different varieties when I was like brand new that were absolutely, I think one of them, my first eval, said we need to throttle him back or something like that. And it was, oh man, am I doing this wrong? Because I was hungry. Like, I wanted to be a shark. I was notorious for getting too many and then staying late to write police reports. But then you get a good one and you're like, oh man, okay, this is a blast. Like, this is super rewarding and this is a lot more fun. It's just, how do you continue that? And how do you pass that on to the next? Having a good frontline leader early in your career, to me, is one of the most important things for a new cop.
It sets a tone for your career, definitely.
And the constant learning. Constant commitment to learning.
Yeah.
What is the future of Kootenai County Jail? We talked about this a little bit before. You guys are expanding right now. Because, I mean, we obviously have a massive population growth up here.
Yep. So we can't find any actual studies to correlate population growth to the need for jail beds. It's just a common sense. There's more people comes with more crime. Not saying that they're violent crimes, because we have a pretty good crime. We'll say crime rate here. Like, all the agencies do a good job of keeping the crime down, but the laws help us out. The fact that the judges, the prosecutor, like, people have to answer for what they do. But with more people will come more need for jail space. So we're finishing the expansion right now. It should be done March 6th of 2026. And that's really just going to make us whole, because that'll up it to, I want to say we're adding like 119 beds. So we'll go from 451 to 570 something. But that's about where we want to be right now. That's where we want to be today, because that gives us room to have broken cells, get stuff fixed, keep enemies away from each other, segregate people that need to be. We are already looking towards what our next expansion is. But the problem is we're losing ground. We don't want to build up. Everybody we talk to, we don't want elevators. We don't want to deal with that. But there's only so much room. So we've got a couple different options out there that we got to start thinking about it now, because in 10 years is when we'll actually be able to do it, because nobody wants to pay for a jail. You have to have it. They're expensive. They're expensive to run. They're expensive to build. But nobody wants to pay for it. So it's hard to get taxpayers to agree to it. And then the state, a couple years ago, they tried a sunrise tax to be able to allow the counties to decide if they wanted to do a sunrise tax for a jail or a courthouse to build it, which, tax the people for the price of the jail, and it's paid off, then the tax goes away. The state wouldn't even allow that to go through to allow the counties to do that. So we have to find, either the county has to save money, we have to go out for an override levy or something like that to be able to get the money. So, but we got to start planning somewhere. And then, commissioners are going to change between here and then, potentially sheriff's going to change between here and then. But we have to at least start the groundwork so that we can start asking, because once we're overcrowded again, that's not the time to start planning.
Right.
And we get an inspection every year, and we fail the inspection every year because we're overcrowded. So we're going to pass for a couple of years, but then it's going to, the number is going to surpass it again. And that brings liability on the county, not just me, not just the jail, but the county as a whole. And that liability goes back to the taxpayers, because if a major lawsuit happens that we could have avoided, we have to pay that money, right? And that's, if we don't have the money in the county, it's going to be passed on to the taxpayers.
I used to say that about when county wasn't very competitive pay-wise. And I'd go lobby with the county commissioner, say, do you want to pay on the front end or do you want to pay on the back?
Yep.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with 2 one-year deputies that walk into a house and something happens inside of that house that may or may not have resulted in something poor on either side. And you're going to be left wondering, man, I wish we'd retained one of those 6-7 year guys that we invested all that money in on the front end. And the training expenses of having brand new deputies. So we made that argument, which you're talking about, it's the same thing. Are you going to get ahead of it, and we're going to be preventative, and then we can actually plan the facility for expansion. It's like planning for infrastructure around a city or a county. We can plan for it. We can be ready for it. Instead of having to throw money to fix a temporary, I think of like putting tents up, right? Like just throwing it at it to try to fix it instead of going, hey, this is where we're going. Here's the prospect. How do we get out in front of this? I'm constantly annoyed that Boise gets to make decisions about what other counties do. It pisses me off because we do the same thing when we talk about like bed taxes in a city like Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene's a resort town. It's okay that that city makes a decision about having bed taxes, but you can't because of population. Why is it Boise won't allow a county to make a decision about their own county that they know better than anybody else? That to me makes a ton of sense.
Right,
But that's
and especially in a state that values sovereignty, right?
Yes.
I mean, that is like a core value of Idaho.
Yep.
Like give the county some sovereignty as well.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing on personnel recruitment?
Staffing, that was on my list.
Staffing. We're putting numbers together for the next budget year, so I don't have them off the top of my head, but I'm going to throw some round numbers. This time last year, we were down probably 20 or so, and we've cut that in about half. And we've changed some recruiting things, but we addressed some issues with our background process that we've been able to clean up, and we're down to I think we're high 20s at one point. Now we're down to like 15 openings or something like that. So we've been able to cut that quite a bit, and we, knock on wood, we haven't lost anybody in the last year and a half or so, but we got a couple retirements coming up, which, man, good for you guys. You made it. Let's get you out the door. I don't want to, try to retain a retiree, right? Not that they're not doing the job, but they made it. So we want them to be able. That's the whole point. You make it to retirement, you can move on knowing you've left it better than you found it. But we still got to recruit people on the back end of that. So for the jail specifically, we're doing way better than we have been. We've got a graduation today at 1 o'clock. Actually, we have 7 deputies graduating from the IC Academy.
Very cool.
And they're getting piped back in. Most of them have already finished the training program, because unlike the road, we get you in, we start you in the training program. You could be out on your own, have to pause for 9 weeks, go to the academy, and then come back. That's how Idaho Patrol could do it as well. Small agencies do it, but none of the agencies, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, us, we don't do it. But the jail, we do it because you're not alone. You're never by yourself, or rarely by yourself. There's always somebody there, so that it's more comforting knowing that we can take care of these guys and teach them the right way. And then so they'll get piped back in this weekend, depending on what shift they're on, and be able to start immediately affecting manning. But we also have other people within the agency that are stepping up and covering some overtime shifts, which helps a lot, because instead of my guys having to run 23 days in a row, they do two 12-day stints with other people covering in between them.
Right.
Yeah. So
I don't know if you know this, but our podcast is the #1 recruiter for Kootenai County Sheriff's
Yeah,
Office.
that's true.
We have single-handedly brought a lot of good deputies here.
Good. Yeah. Here's my pitch. Jail starts out at almost $30 an hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty damn good. That's
That
a lot.
is
I was going to ask
It's
you that.
good. Yeah.
What's the minimum age?
18. We start at 18. You have to be 18. I think you have to be 18 to apply, but you definitely have to be 18. But you get to carry a gun and everything still. You're a sworn deputy, go through all the same training as everybody else, but we can start you at 18. So if you want to, here's my little recruiting plug. If you want to be in law enforcement, and what we continually find across the board, somebody wants to be in law enforcement, they graduate high school, they go make some dumb decisions, and then they apply at 21 and they can't get in until later because of the decisions they made. We'll get you in. You can start in Percy, start your retirement, get some overtime. Especially if you're 18, still living at home with mom and dad, put that money away.
Yeah.
And that way you're prepared. I was not prepared to leave home.
Right.
But I did. I remember the first night waking up in basic training, I ran outside. I'm like, dang, what'd I do?
Yeah.
But 18, we get you in, and then we'll get you're going down the right path. And then especially because this job isn't for everybody. And if you get 3 years in and you're like, man, this is not for me, you're 21. You can go out and go do whatever you want. Or that you're 21, you've made it, now you can go be a patrol officer anywhere. And this is where, don't stay with us. If county isn't right for you, go to Coeur d'Alene, go to Rathdrum, go to Post Falls. There's good agencies if that's what you want. But yeah, we can get them in early, and then you're in Percy, and then some people love the jail. They started out in the jail, and if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, man.
Yeah.
So they find, and the camaraderie in the jail is freaking second to none because you're locked in jail with your 10 coworkers every night for 12 hours a night.
Yep.
You get way closer than you ever get on the road.
Yep.
Well, and it's very much a family environment in the jail. Everybody's tight-knit. So a lot of guys got to look out for each other to pick up shifts when they're home with family, and a lot of that is tough. And with that, I'm not going to go this entire podcast without saying, I mean, you guys lost one of your family members last week. I'm really sorry for that. I know the kind of shift that you guys run in your family environment there. Caleb Law was a great dude.
Yep.
One of my favorite ones. When I walked in there, he was behind the desk. And, off duty, just, one of those completely random circumstances that nobody could control, but it sucks.
I'm
sorry.
awful.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
And
for everybody there, because I know they all hang on to that.
Yep.
It's a tight shift there.
Yep.
But yeah, I love the idea, especially at 18, 19, getting out. I mean, you and I talked about people transitioning. When we were strictly patrol, we're like, it's a hard transition to go from detention deputy to patrol because it's a controlled environment on the one side, and then you get out and it's not. But I think all the difference in the world is when you have people like you that are patrol-minded, maybe didn't want to go to the jail, but now have realized what an opportunity it was, change that, and you can prepare them. And you're not going to try to just hold on to them. I used to get pissed at county because they'd have you sign a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about that. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you make somebody stay that doesn't want to? Because then you feel like an indentured servant, like it's the military.
Correct. Yeah.
No, you just want to create an environment they never want to leave.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And I think the jail is very much like that. But if they want to go to patrol, you can be vocal about that there.
And not be scared about what's going to happen because you said the words.
Yes. And dudes like, you can... And a lot of the other guys there, I think about Norris a lot too, but he'll help get you ready.
Oh, yeah.
They'll help you get ready for patrol. Hey, here's what it's going to look like.
Yep.
Maybe throw them on a ride,
Yeah.
right? Find a shift and get them on a ride.
And because it's a different job, and they only know what they know. They're young. They've been in the jail 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they think they know. Let's expose them to it. Because I'd rather expose them to it, and they decide, like, it's scary out here.
Yeah, it's different.
Or
Yeah.
it just solidifies, like, yep, this is what I want to do. And that's great. Either way, like, I don't care. I want people to be successful, and people don't leave organizations for pay. There's studies out there. I'm sure you guys have seen them. That's like number 3 on the list. Leadership, number 1.
Yep.
If you're leaving, you're like, hey, I don't want to leave the team, but this is an opportunity over freaking great. But my philosophy is if you're leaving the jail, let's keep you in patrol, right? So then we're only down 1. Instead of down 1 on each side, then we're only down 1 dude.
Well, and what a better, you're creating your resume in the jail.
Yep.
Like people already know who you are. They know your work ethic. And if you're into that, we just talked about how there's an intel trove inside the jail. Man, show us.
Yeah.
Show us what you can do.
Yep.
You're going to learn how to do it legally, right?
Yeah.
Within the confines of current case law and all that. But man, that would be awesome. I remember this guy. This dude brought me a whole bunch out of here. Hell yeah, I want to see him on patrol.
That is everything. I had a lieutenant, actually a good lieutenant one time, and he sat me down. He's like, everything you do, you're building your personal brand. And when I started to look at it like that, I was like, oh, yeah. Every decision I make, every little extra effort I take is building my own personal brand. And that's what matters.
Because you never know where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if you got into it for that reason, there are opportunities open to you that you never knew.
Yep.
Like I never knew I was going to get into real estate business when Dave Fowler was in my car.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea.
He probably did.
Yeah. Oh, Dave knew. That's because Dave's like a magician. He's back there pulling strings. But no, but truly, like that was never a part of it. But your character's your character, and your life philosophy, your philosophies, and your virtues, and all of those things. And then it just ends up, and there's other opportunities, and who knows what's in your future. We'll see what that holds. But you do things the right way for the right reasons, where you invest in your own people.
Yeah.
And if they leave, and I'll never forget that. Like if they leave, it's okay. Don't take it personally, but hey, man, why? Is there something? There was always what can I learn from this?
Yes.
Right?
Why are you leaving us? It's not, I can't believe you're leaving. Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
Because if I'm all fucked up and nobody told me, shame on everybody else, right?
Right.
So going back to having a hard conversation. But if you've done everything right and they're like, but I want to move on to the next next best thing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's where I was.
I take that as a compliment to me.
Right. I wanted to go to the cat team. It wasn't. We didn't have that at county. It was like, here's the next. Oh, and that was okay.
And that's there was about. I want to say there was a total. There's been more than that, but there's a total of 4 since I was invested into supervision in this agency that left. And there was 2 things. Like, first of all, are you leaving for the right reason? And the other thing is, are you being snowballed? Like, did they? Because I remember talking to you, and you're like, I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, did they promise you that? Because they're like, well, I think the way you put it was, I'm going to do that. And that's good for you. Are you going to do it because that's what you're going to earn? Or are you going to do it because they're like, yeah, come on over and you can do all these things and we'll get you. I'm like, no. Like, you still have to earn that shit. Cream rises to the top, boys.
Right.
But are you going to earn it, or have they promised? Because if they've promised you something, you and I both know that. Like, that's a recruiter saying, nah,
exactly.
You got tricked into joining. You probably joined the Navy on purpose. I got tricked into joining the Army.
Not submarines, bro.
Right?
You think anybody rightfully in their mind is
most people, and that's what I'm saying. You probably like, you know what? I want to be locked in a tube with a bunch of dudes.
Okay. Listen, that took a long time to
do. You do.
You never work a day in your life.
That's right.
Yeah.
But truly, like, I just want to make sure dudes they're not being snowed, because I almost re-upped in the Army. They almost had me. All I ever wanted to do was be a cop from young age. My dad, my grandpa, my uncle, everybody was law enforcement. That's all I ever wanted. They're also firemen, but I was a fireman for a little bit.
Oh,
yeah, that's all right.
But it was in Kansas, so
no, it doesn't count.
There's no paper back there.
We forgive you.
But that's
no
all
trees.
I ever. There's none. That's all I ever wanted to do. So I knew that's what I was going to do. I graduated college. No big deal.
Yeah. Wow.
Kind of a big deal.
Associate's degree. But no, I did my 2-year college. Cause you have to be 21, right? I graduated May of whatever year it was. I was 20. Just turned 20. My birthday's in May. Didn't want to go work in the jail. I knew the local sheriff. Didn't want to go work in the jail. Didn't want to go flip burgers. I didn't want to go back to college. And so I went to the Army recruiter that he talked to me like a year and a half before. And I'm like, crap, man, I don't know what to do. Like, how about let's join the Army for 5 years? I mean, I needed 1 year. I'm not a mathematician. I left for 5. Anyway, met my amazing wife. I have 3 beautiful daughters, who I will talk about them soon. But light of my life. Anyway, I had a platoon sergeant, Jeff Fagone. He Big Red 1 out of Fort Riley for a while. He was my platoon sergeant down in Fort Gordon, Georgia. And he said, hey, we're going to send you to Kuwait on the end of the month, so you're there to the next month. Duty station of choice, we were looking at Vicenza, Italy, 173rd, go airborne, and tax-free bonus and all this stuff. And he was piping it in. He's like, and I'm like, dude, all right, let's look at it. Let's look at it. And then I'm like, wait. If I do this, I'll still be in the Army, right? He goes, oh yeah. I'm like, I don't want to be in the Army anymore. Like, you almost freaking had me. I want to go be a cop.
Yeah.
So he almost had me, but everything happens for a reason. That led us from Fort Gordon to Killeen, Texas, because that's where Lindsay's job took her. We stayed down there for about 6 years, and then this place up here is as close to Alaska as you can get without being in Alaska, with the seasons and the weather. Yeah. Jacobson and I spent many a night in a car together. When it is sub 20 degrees, it's Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And that's why we ended up here.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember that. You and Jacobson rolling around on patrol, catching midnight meth loads going over on I-90.
Yeah, that was rowdy, dude.
That was before it got designated as a high-intensity drug trafficking area. We all knew it was
you have to have the federal government tell you it is.
Yeah, but there was enough of those guys out there on patrol on the interstate that they started bumping up all the way over in Montana.
Go up. That's why I had to learn geography. They go up Highway 2. I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'd go around Kootenai County.
So with Kootenai County structure, do you think as a jail captain now, will you eventually transition out as a jail captain, go back to patrol?
Probably. Yeah. It's inevitable. I can't predict where anybody's going to go. But, people have to retire at some point. People are leaving, coming and going. I'm sure it's inevitable. Yeah. But right now, I'm not planning for that because I don't know when it's going to come. It's not a hard date I can plan for. But I also want to give the love to the dudes at the jail where I'm at. I don't want them to look at me and be like, oh, he's just biding his time. I'm fully invested in them, and it's been surreal. I didn't know very many jail guys when I took over, so I've had to earn relationships with them. And I have guys that I didn't know before who will come up because I need somebody to tell me what's really going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I make it a point to spend time in the jail with the dudes so that they're comfortable and they're like, hey, Captain, since you're standing here, they're not going to come to my office. And I would expect them to.
Yeah.
But hey, since you're standing here, let me pick your brain, or let me, explain to you how you're all fucked up so you can.
Well, that's the hard part of having that open door policy, right? Everybody says they have one.
Yep.
I mean, I know very few now that don't operate an open door policy.
Every policy has it, yeah.
But nobody's going to walk past, especially if it's an issue with like a lieutenant or somebody else. They're not going to walk past all those doors to get to the open door.
To get to my office, you have to pass my admin sergeant, 3 lieutenants, walk past my admin assistant to get to my door.
Yeah.
And they'll all see.
It's a gauntlet right there.
What's Boardman doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
But you make it a point to go be. Purposefully, I spend days just leaning against the booking island.
Yeah.
And, because it's busy, right? So people are coming and going and, chatting with people. And if you're standing there, you'll overhear conversations. I remember there was one of my guys was talking to another guy, like, yeah, they had this idea of putting a drawer in the bondsman window. So the bondsman come in the back door and it's all, closed off. But if somebody's picking up property, they have to come in there, and then we have to send a deputy to go get the property, and then we have to go around and meet. It was this whole process. And he's like, why don't we just put a drawer there, like a big bank drawer?
Yeah.
I can pick it up from right here and walk over there and give it to him. And he's like, yeah, but Sarge said there's no money in the budget. And I'm like, hey, wait, like that's my budget. Like get over here, come talk to me.
Yeah.
And you remember the old proposal system that we had because you couldn't get decisions made, and that was all that problem was they couldn't make decisions.
Right.
But he's like, do I need to write a proposal? I'm like, look, I'm not very smart. Just send me an email with the link of what I need because I need the reminder, but I don't need a proposal. I heard the proposal. I don't need you to then put on paper like I know you overheard all this, but like just make a decision. Like it's my budget. Let's go. I mean, we had to wait till the budget because we didn't have the money.
So
that's my decision.
You didn't say, well, this is the way we've always done it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But the problem is
Amazing.
I don't know how we've always done it. I didn't work in there, so I don't know how we do it. So I kind of make stuff up.
Do us all a favor and don't lose that, okay? Yeah. Don't learn the way that we've always done it. Just keep being the guy. Because I remember coming to you with some crazy stuff. And every once in a while, you'd make me pump the brakes. I'd be like, I have this idea. Right? I know I got to open this house. Here's what I got. Here's my plan. But I'd offer something, and I was always pretty good at like creative policing. Mm-hmm. So I'd propose it, and you'd go down the list. Is it legal? Mm-hmm. Is it moral? Mm-hmm. Is it ethical? Is it within policy?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do that, and let's do it the safest way possible, which was very empowering as somebody that works in there. There's a lot of skill sets in there, and you don't have to have all the knowledge. That was my realization as a leader.
Yep.
I bring guys in and say, you're a lot better DUIs than I am. If I'm going to do a briefing training on DUIs, it's you.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not the one with the knowledge.
Exactly, or a DRE. Hell yeah, dude. You're giving training tomorrow on this. Bro, you are a beast on DV investigations. You just came from detectives. Get up here and give us a briefing. Yeah. But that's at a very micro level.
Yeah.
Running a massive agency.
When you were running the 3rd largest jail in the state of Idaho, we're about to be the 2nd when we open our...
Hell yeah.
It'll be bigger than everybody but Ada. Ada's always going to be about double our size. But we'll be the 2nd largest jail in the state of Idaho. I never worked. There's one day I worked the Killeen City Jail just because I drew the short straw. And the only arrest that was made, the officer booked him in because I'm like, I didn't know how. But I'm like, I ain't doing it. You do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's my only experience in the jail. So it's not great. And then it's very humbling. You're now in charge of it. Like, hey, what do we do with this? Well, I don't know. What's policy say?
Yeah.
What's the law say?
Yeah.
What are the Idaho jail standards? I didn't even know about the Idaho jail standards. And I'm like, man, it's all written down. Like I said, it's exactly what we have to do. This is easy.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just refer back to that. And then, the case law, there's a lot of things you can do in the jail for just the peniological interest of the jail, safety, security of the jail. And I'm like, well, this is easy. Like, why are we not letting our dudes do the work?
Right.
Right? And like I said before, like sometimes best de-escalation is punching somebody in the face. We had a dude that had to punch somebody in the face because they were trying to bite his hand, and he couldn't let go because if he'd have let go, then he had a bigger fight on his hands, right? So he was able to successfully de-escalate with one well-placed punch to the face.
Yeah, but that's
perfect.
Yeah, but you're a freaking SWAT commander, bro, and you were a road dog. Like that helps a lot. Where it's like,
no, I don't even want to say it that. I mean, yes, that's my experience, and we can talk about everything that I've that got to lead me here. But is it ethical? Is it moral? Is it legal? And is it within policy? You don't have to have any experience. Like, hey, look, you're going to be in charge of this thing. All I need you to do is make legal, ethical, moral decisions within policy. It doesn't matter what your background is. Seth, I can drop you into the jail right now. I'm like, these are the guidelines. Stay within those. Oh, okay, that's easy. Well, yep, says it right there. We can do it.
Yeah.
You just have to be comfortable. It's easy for you. It's easier for me as a leader for you to do nothing, and then I don't have to answer for you.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with where I came from. That has to do with being man enough to step up and support your dudes.
And I still think that comes from a lack of confidence and a lack of foundational understanding or knowledge.
It does. 100%.
It's discomfort, right?
And that's where the knowledge base that I've earned or I've learned helped me become confident in that.
Yeah. Well, remind me, you said something yesterday. You were talking about your dog had fear-based aggression. Yeah, but I think leadership has fear-based apathy.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like a lack of staying absolutely entrenched in the profession and knowledgeable. It's a constant state of learning. I always said that when I stop learning, I'm going to hang them up. Well, I ended up hanging them up earlier than I was still learning a ton. But when I stop learning, I'm going to hang them up. And there's a lot of people who don't get to that. And then it's like, oh, I need to continue to hold this position. So I'm just going to suppress any of the new ideas because I don't get them. I don't understand them. And I don't want to have to understand them, or at least tell this person that I don't know. I never minded saying, that's a really good idea. I don't know enough about that. Bring it to me. Like, teach me. Show me. I don't care if I outrank you. Like my own security, I'm totally good in my own skin. I got plenty.
There's a philosophy that I've recently only learned going to classes. So the cops that taught me, I started in 2006. We'll say, just on average, the cop that taught me started 10 years before, so 96. The cop that taught him started 10 years before, so 86. When did Graham become case law? 89?
Yeah, it was 80s.
So the cop that taught my trainer was pre-Graham, was pre-Tennessee v. Gardner.
Wow.
Right? So think of what was going on in the country, the supervisors, born in the 70s at that point. Right? Those were the guys that taught. So that's what, if I'd have just rested on my laurels, like, well, this is what I was taught by a guy who learned it 10 years before. No, it changes. Gant, we talked about that earlier. It changes every single time. So you have to stay up on it, and that's where case law is huge. Don't just listen to what Hyle said. No, Hyle said this. I read this case law, but since he knew that, that's changed. So that's changed to this, and the case law's changed, and you just have to stay up, and that's exhausting. Trying to keep up on case, especially search and seizure. I can't do it. I couldn't go out and do today what I did back then. But use of force, that's what my job is now. Use of force, liability, risk management. I've told I've stood up in front of all my men and women and said, I'm not risk adverse. Let's just be aware of the risk we take, right? Let's take good, legal, ethical, moral risk, because there's risk in this job. Let's not be scared of it. Be like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get sued. No, let's know exactly what we're going to get sued on and be able to defend it when we make that decision.
Right. But even from your position, you don't have to have all of that case law knowledge if you create a culture where people buy into getting it themselves. And then are existing in a culture where they're free to teach that to everybody else. Hey, I did this. I went to court for this. This is what happened. This is what they fanged me on. Hey, let's all
learn. Court's a big teacher.
Yes. Oh, especially here. We don't even, that's a whole nother podcast getting into like, because the Judicial Watch has been generating a lot of attention, which I think is great. I love having an informed voting base because as safe as it is here, our judges are not consistent.
They are not consistent. And the Karst decision, I spent 9 hours on the stand for the Karst case.
Yeah. But you had another one with Haynes where you yarded a guy out of a car and you were completely justified in the reasonable articulable suspicion. We just have a hard time getting our courts to grasp reasonable articulable suspicion and Terry stops. It's frustrating, but it's not all judges. A lot of the judges are like, that's completely independently all of these different.
Or like, let me think, going in for search warrants. I've never seen this before, but it looks legal. Like their job is to determine if there's legal reason to do it
with consistency.
Looks legal. Yes. Some of our best judges I've ever, not even here, but in Texas, the Justice of the Peace could sign arrest warrants, some search warrants, do a wedding. They were And the two that we had were former Texas DPS troopers, freaking solid, legit dudes. And we take some stuff in there, and usually, like a trespass prostitute's walking across and whatever, and they're just signing a bunch of warrants, and they're like, well, let me read this one's interesting. I've never seen it before. And they're like, they look up the code. They're like, that looks legit.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the support of like, well, I've never seen it. I don't want to do it. No, it looks, it's coming from a law enforcement background. Like, I don't know, let's try it.
Yeah.
It looks legal, right? If the Supreme Court doesn't like it, we'll hear about it later.
It comes back to what makes a good cop. Are you naturally curious? Judges are the same way. Be naturally curious and look it up.
Yeah.
Right? Very rarely are you inventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Just go back. Somebody's done that before. How was it interpreted before? See if the elements match and if it makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, that's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, we're pushing some time here, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're an hour.
Your phone's been buzzing.
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
All right. Well, let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the best bet. I want to come do a tour.
Yeah, you guys need to. So just give me a call.
Yeah, let's link up. That'd be fun. Because the jail does come up a lot, and I just don't have the knowledge. Because during that, I want to ask you a little bit more about riders and just get a little bit better knowledge on, what that looks like as our population continues to grow.
Well, honestly, I'm not even the most. I mean, I know the people. That's what I have. I know the people that have the knowledge. I'll bring Nate would be a huge. Well,
that'd be very helpful.
He's a huge dude, so he'd be a huge help on this podcast.
We'll lower his chair.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Put him farther away from the cameras.
That's right. Yeah.
Solid podcast. This is like I said, I don't even think we did a formal intro because we got right into cop stuff.
I'll do a separate one. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but man, really, thank you. First time meeting you, and it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
I'm always excited to know people of your energy and caliber are running the show out here.
Yeah,
that gives me peace of mind, especially because my family is growing up here. So.
Same here. We all have a vested interest in that.
We do, and that's my wife and I own a store here in town. She runs it because it's a lingerie bra store. So I don't have no business in there.
Yeah,
but we had that for 7 years now. This is our community. This is our.
Yeah.
We don't live in
What's
the county.
the name of the
yet.
store?
Leah at the Lake.
Okay.
Down on Government and Mill.
Go check them out.
Heck yeah.
It's been phenomenal. My oldest is working there with her, and
cool.
She doesn't like to people, she says, but she has to people there.
Yeah.
So it's fun watching them work together at the store. And then I got to have the opportunity to build the cash wrap and shelves and stuff, built everything other than the wall.
Hell
so it's fun, dude. And this is our community. We aren't going anywhere. In Killeen, we lived in the city, and I told her that if and when we move, we're never living in the community again because I ran into freaking gangbangers and dopers that I dealt with. It's different here, and this community. I want to help keep it that way because this is how you it's a tourist town for a reason because people like coming here,
right?
And we just have to embrace it. We can't be mad that everybody wants to move here.
So the same thing. Take a vested interest in keeping the community where I chose to raise my family.
Yeah.
Where I chose to plant roots and raise my family. And
that's the thing.
That's where you end up with a collective like our group, right? When you end up with a collective body where you don't have to lift it all yourself.
Yep.
It's nice.
It is. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Jeremy Hyle, thank you, brother.
Man, I appreciate
thanks,
it, brother.
Catch you guys next time.